A nation is not its noise. It is whether its people can keep land, law, and livelihood together. I am Goyaałé, Geronimo of the Bedonkohe Apache. You have brought me back into your hour to look and to speak. Do not dress me in legend. I buried my family. I made treaties. I did not trust because the guns were close and the winter was closer. Hear me plain. A nation is not its noise. A nation is whether its people can keep land, law, and livelihood together. Fail one, the other two begin to rot. Keep all three, and even a hard people can live well. I am not here to trade sorrows for applause. I will tell you what still breaks and what now stands. I will complain where the wound is open, and I will honor what has been mended. And when I am finished, you will know exactly what a real nation requires, from my people and from yours. We will speak of 3 posts that hold a nation: the land that teaches, the law that protects, and the livelihood that endures. First, the land, the first teacher and the first test. You like to say public lands, as if a mountain were a hallway anyone can rearrange. One signature shrinks a sacred place, another restores it, another cuts it again. I fought soldiers I could see. You fight leases and memos that move in the dark. And now permits and transmission lines that move too slow in the light. The rule does not change. A people who let others name their sacred places become visitors at their own ceremonies. Land is not scenery. Land is instruction. The wind that smells of juniper is a teacher. A canyon that echoes a prayer is a teacher. A grandmother who points to a spring and speaks the old name is a teacher. Lose the classroom and the children forget the lesson. I see good work. Tribes forming compacts to defend Bear's Ears together, not as rivals. Nations buying back parcels acre by acre, instead of waiting for a king to remember he is mortal. Young people mapping burial grounds with care, so a bulldozer cannot pretend it did not know. These are strong roots. They are not rumors. They are choices. And I see the old hunger. Extraction with a smile. Temporary disturbances that outlast treaties. Projects that promise prosperity and deliver cleanup bills. Our grandchildren cannot pay. Let me speak as a man relocated by signatures. Power that lives on one pen dies on the next. If your safety depends on applause in the capital, you are not safe. Build alliances that do not change with elections. Own the wind, the sun, and the water on your land, so rent never becomes a leash, and build the lines that carry that power to your homes first. Second, the law, because safety without justice is only quiet. You want a measure of a nation? Do not show me a parade. Show me this. When a woman is harmed, does the law protect her or shrug? For too long, men hurt native women on our lands and walked away because jurisdiction was sliced so thin duty turned to smoke. That was not law. That was abandonment. We have begun to close that door. Tribal courts now hold more power to try non-native offenders for crimes on our lands. It is not enough, but it moves us from not my desk to my responsibility. Remember this. The maze tires the runner. The maze is the point. When an official says, "Not my desk," he tells you the truth with a knife in it. There is no desk. Fix that. Make jurisdiction a bridge, not a hiding place. Cross-deputize. Share data. Honor each other's arrests so a case does not lose its breath. Make a victim's path straight and short. If your forms are longer than your mercy, you do not have justice. You have a filing system. I will also honor what is right. Our daughters and sons now sit where words become law. Interior, Congress, state houses, city councils, tribal attorneys and judges turning our rights from speeches into sentences that bind. A lone warrior is a story. A council is a power. Do not leave them alone in the marble wind. Send them witnesses, facts, and the stubborn support that outlasts a cycle. Guard dignity inside the law. Native is not a sticker handed out in a clinic. It is ties, kinship, language, ceremony, obligation to place and to future. Carry those ties and the word will follow you. Wear the word without the ties, and the paper will not make it true. Respect is not sorrow without change. Respect is policy with memory. Third, livelihood, the difference between glitter and grain. How do we live today and tomorrow? Some nations built houses of chance, casinos, that pump money like springs. With that money, we paid for schools that teach our designs and our sciences, clinics that treat our bodies and our histories, language programs that speak the old tongue without shame. These are victories. Every child whose lunch is paid without humiliation, every elder whose medicine arrives on time, count them as wins. But hear me plain. A house of cards is not a herd of deer. Gaming money is a tool, not a purpose. What remains when the power blinks? What you own: language, land, law, and the habit of counsel. Spend the glitter to thicken those four, or the glitter will blind you. Build enterprises that grow from who you are: ranches and artisanship, tribal-owned renewables, data systems you control, tourism that teaches instead of taking. Put your young people in paid apprenticeships with welders, engineers, nurses, coders, teachers, so skill grows at home, not only away. And where there is no glitter, there is dust. Many of our reservations were carved from bad water and thin soil, with roads that fail and banks that vanish at the county line. That is not laziness. That is design. Change the design. Run clean water and call it sovereignty. Lay fiber and call it a treaty honored. Put an emergency vehicle on a road that does not break its axle and call that patriotism. These are not metaphors. These are the spine of dignity. You wish me to speak about the noise of your politics. I will say this, and only this. If you call yourself a true American while breaking your own treaties, you are just loud. If you shout about freedom while poisoning the river, you are just loud. If you love a man like a king and demand that the law bow to him, then you have forgotten what this land teaches. We buried kings. We do not need new ones in suits. A nation that keeps land, law, and livelihood does not kneel to a person. It kneels to the truth. I have complaints. I will list them like a scout. Leases signed where elders prayed and were not told. Counties that treat tribal police as children until they need adults. Hospitals that forget our women until our families carry signs. Maps drawn to silence towns, then explanations as long as winters to say it was process. I have seen this before by other names. The uniform changes, the hunger does not. I also have praise. I will offer it like water. Language nests where toddlers laugh in words my grandmother spoke. Courts where a native judge reads a careful opinion that cannot be bent by the wind. Offices where our people serve not as decoration but as force. Interior, Congress, state houses, city councils. Projects where wind turns to light for our homes and the bill is paid to us instead of to a stranger. Neighbors who show up not to take and not to be thanked, but to do the work, to fence a returned well, to fix a road to a clinic, to read a treaty before a meeting so their mouth does not outrun their mind. These are not dreams. They are happening. Add to them. You ask me for what everyone can do, not just my people. Learn the name of the nation beneath your feet. Learn the treaty that covers it. If you hold office, do not let your mouth call treaties old while your hand waves the Constitution like a flag. They are the same law. Keep one or lose both. If land is returned, do not stop at a ribbon. Dig a trench, lay the pipe, pay the surveyor. Fund the school that will fill the land with language and skill. Land back without infrastructure is a poem. We also need a pantry. If you are in uniform, make jurisdiction cooperation, not hiding. Cross-deputize and stop saying, "Not my desk." If you are a judge, explain yourself in words. The people can test. If you are in business, bring work that leaves more than it takes and accepts no without changing the subject. If you call yourself conservative, then conserve what lasts. The river you drink, the treaty that keeps your word, the fairness that lets your grandson lose an election and still expect to live in a country. If you call yourself progressive, then progress what matters. A clinic that opens on time, a road that survives a storm, a budget that pays engineers and teachers before consultants and slogans. And if you are one of my people, remember the 4 posts: language, land, law, and the habit of counsel. Say them when you wake. Say them when you meet. Say them when you choose. The habit of counsel means we speak until sense appears, not until the loudest wins. We do not exile our own for sport. We listen to our women. A camp that does not listen to its women soon mourns its children. I will end where I began. A nation is not its noise. It is whether its people can keep land, law, and livelihood together. Keep the land, not as a museum, but as a teacher. Keep the law, not as a maze, but as a straight path. The frightened can walk. Keep the livelihood, not as glitter, but as grain and light and skill that do not run when the power flickers. Forts become museums. Papers turn yellow. Oil dries. Rivers remember all of us and do not lie. The people who keep their ties, language, land, law, and the habit of counsel, endure. We have outlived harder men than any you can show me on a screen. If you wish to honor us, do not dress like us or cry for us. Build with us. Keep your word with us. Stand with the land, the law, and the livelihood that will feed our grandchildren together. I am Goyaałé. You call me Geronimo. We are still here. And if you keep these 3, so will you. Finally, you have made a campfire in your day where old voices may speak. This channel, a most excellent adventure, whom I thank for calling me to it. Please subscribe so others will sit with us. They will speak plainly to you too.